Всем привет, это 41 урок по Java. Смотрим дальше.
Alright guys, welcome to your 41st intermediate Java tutorial, and again, like I said, this program is going to do three main things. It's going to wait for someone to connect with it. Once someone's connected, it's going to set up the streams or set up, and the last thing it does is it runs the program while you are chatting. Is just to do it in order. The first thing that I'm going to be teaching you guys in this video is how to wait. So make sure that you are outside your start running method, and make sure you're inside your class, obviously. So this method is basically going to wait for connection. Then once you're connected, I just want to give you guys a nice little prompt on the screen that says, you're connected with, whatever their IP address is. Then display connection information. So again, remember that this method is called wait for connection. So I can type that, I'm not that lazy. So private void wait for connection. And it's not going to take any parameters, and what it's going to do is it's going to throw an IO exception. Alright, so we're good to go. So the first thing I want to do is remember this is pretty much the first main method that gets called. So whenever you're waiting for a connection, I just like to have a little prompt on the screen that says show message to let you know, okay, the program is set up successfully, you're just waiting for someone else to connect. So waiting for someone to connect, ... because that's what you do when it. Whenever you're waiting, I guess. And oops. Alright, there we go. So basically, whenever this method gets called, we're going to know that it successfully gets called and we're successfully waiting for someone to connect because we get this prompt on the screen. Not a whole lot of programming value, but it's good to show the user that it is working. You're not just sitting here waiting for your program to load. So the next thing we need to do is we actually need to set up this socket. Now remember, the socket is the connection between you and another computer, and we need this variable connection. Now let's go ahead and actually create this variable connection. Set this equal to server accept. Now I guess I might as well explain to you guys what this is right here. Of course, I forgot to say this, but we're going to code this show message method later on. That's where we're getting an error, but pretty much all it does is display something on your screen. But anyways, back to this. Now the connection is the socket, and what server accept does is once someone asks to connect to us, asks to say, you know what, I want to have a conversation with you, then it accepts a connection to the socket. So it's basically going to be waiting on our server, and this loop is going to go over and over and over again, and every time it loops, like every millisecond, it's going to be waiting for someone to connect. Is someone connected now? No. How about now? No. How about now? No. How about now? No. How about now? Yes. And once you have that connection, this variable or connection or socket, whatever you want to call it, goes by many names, gets created, and a connection or socket is created every millisecond. It's going to accept a connection to the socket. So it's basically to display something on your screen. But anyways, back to this. Now the connection is the socket, and what server accept does is once someone asks to connect to us, asks to say, you know what, I want to have a conversation with you, then it accepts a connection to the socket. So it's basically going to be waiting on our server, and this loop is going to go over and over and over again, and every time it loops, like every millisecond, it's going to be waiting for someone to connect. Is someone connected now? No. How about now? No. How about now? No. How about now? No. How about now? Yes. And once you have that connection, this variable or connection or socket, whatever you want to call it, goes by many names, gets created, and a connection addresses, 123.4.5.6, it's going to say, okay, now connected to 123.4.5.6. That's all. So basically, that is the end of this program. Basically, wait for a connection, which is the first method that we have to build. Is the first time it gets called, it's going to give you a nice little prompt on the screen that says, you know what, all you're doing right now is waiting for a connection. It's going to wait for someone to connect, and once they finally do, a socket is going to be created. And once a socket gets created, it's going to say, okay, now you are connected to 456.7.8.9 or whatever the heck your IP address is. So there you have it. In the next tutorial, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up the streams or the connections that pretty much allow you to send messages to the other person and receive messages from the other person. So that's what we have to look forward to. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and yada yada yada. See you later.
Итак, здесь что мы сделали? Здесь мы имплементировали один из трех основных методов wait for connection. Просто он ждет входящих соединений, а потом принимает соединение. Да? Так, а чему равно сервер? Сервер сокет, сервер. Так, user text and user visible. Сервер, new server socket 6789. Это сервер, который слушает порт 6789 и достав входящих соединений. Так, wait for connection. Wait for connection — это он просто ждет входящего соединения, принимает его, и все. И два этих принтлайна, можно сказать, да? Здесь он говорит, что ждет, и здесь, что он принял, и выдает информацию о том, с кем соединился. Так, спасибо.